Fellas, there are some contenders in the UFC that I just hope don't become a champion one day, and if they are the champion, I hope they lose the belt as soon as possible. So I'm going to be going through every weight class and picking out one fighter that I just hope doesn't become a champion, or at least stay a champion in their division. This could be because of their fight style or their promotability or other reasons, but there's a reason why I don't want these specific contenders or fighters to become or stay a champion in their weight class, and I feel like their weight class would be much better off if these guys weren't a champion. Starting off with the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division is growing, but I hope Jon Jones doesn't stay the champion, and I hope he can get rid of that belt as soon as possible. At first, Jon Jones going up to heavyweight and fighting Cyril Gane for the belt, it seemed like an exciting idea, but ever since the whole Stipe fight has happened and the whole controversy of not fighting Aspinall, Jon Jones is rarely holding up this heavyweight division. You've got guys like Jamal Hill and Yuri Prohaska in the light heavyweight division who win the belt and instantly vacate whenever they get injured. And now we've got Jon Jones, who won the belt in March of 2023, and we're now in February, coming on to March of 2024, and he's still not got a fight booked. I know he was, scheduled to fight Stipe back in November, and he got injured, but at least vacate the belt. Now Aspinall's going to have to defend the interim belt, which is, I think that's a terrible decision, well, not a decision, but a terrible move to have to get one of your best fighters in the heavyweight division in Aspinall to have to defend an interim champion. I think that's a horrible career move, especially by the UFC, to do that to Aspinall. We've got Stipe Miocic, who's getting a title shot after getting brutally knocked out and having 3 years of inactivity. And we're most likely not going to see a Jones return until summertime. I hate Jones's heavyweight run, and I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to see Jon Jones as a champion forever any longer. Fair enough if he'd have already fought Stipe by now and maybe he vacated the belt when he got injured, or if he was choosing and waiting to fight a guy like Aspinall or an Ngannou or someone who was going to, bring an exciting fight to the heavyweight division, but that's just not the case. I hope the Jon Jones era of heavyweight gets gone as quick as possible, so then we can start seeing guys like Almeida, Aspinall, Pavlovich, Gane. We can start seeing those guys dominate the division rather than Jones, who's picking, nitpicking opponents like Stipe, who he wants to fight and then go and retire. So I hope Jon Jones doesn't stay a champion in the heavyweight division. Light heavyweight, I've gone for Alexander Rakic because he's just super boring. You might hear me say that a few times in this video because I'm being honest. I've got nothing against Rakic personally. I think he's a great striker, but I would just have no interest in seeing this guy as a champion. He's not promotable. He's not a human highlight reel. You've got killers in that division. You've got guys as entertaining as Yuri Prohaska. You've got scary and popular fighters like Alex Pereira. You've got guys who are so well-rounded in Magomed Ankalaev. You've got, guys who have had fights at the highest level for so long in Jan Blachowicz, and then you've got Rakic, who's kind of just known for being injured against Jan Blachowicz. Nothing against him personally. I'm not saying he'd be a bad champion like Jon Jones. I just hope Rakic doesn't become a champion out of this, exciting list of contenders in the light heavyweight division. It would be disappointing to see Rakic of all people become the champion. So I hope he stays away from the belt, but I think he'd be a great gatekeeper for the top 5 in the light heavyweight division. Middleweight, I hope Israel Adesanya doesn't become a champion again. Now, one thing I will say is I'm not going to completely shit on his title reign. I will admit he was an active champion, was Israel Adesanya. He wasn't one of these fighters that, fights once a year like Jon Jones. He was a very active champion, and for that, I credit him. But I'm kind of just sick of the Adesanya era. I'm so glad that the middleweight, we're getting new fights like Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis, and, just different contenders at the top, and we're going to start seeing guys like Chimaev come up as well. I'm just kind of sick of every single middleweight title fight being Adesanya, and they're not even entertaining fights. Most of them aren't even entertaining. We've got him leg kicking into a decision like he did against Cannonier. That was a boring fight, and obviously the iconic one against Yoel Romero. Adesanya's just not that interesting of a fighter. I think like Adesanya as a challenger is much more, interesting than a defender. So I also don't want him on every press conference. I can't bear listening to Israel Adesanya at every press conference. So I hope Adesanya doesn't become a champion. I don't care if it's Strickland or Dricus or Chimaev or even Cannonier. Just anyone but Adesanya at this point. And he's had his run in the middleweight division. Let's get past him. Welterweight, I think you all know who I'm going to pick. Belal Muhammad. I don't think this needs much explanation. I hope he gets treated, well by the UFC, and I think he does deserve a title shot, but no one wants to see this guy as a champion. If you want Belal Muhammad to be a champion, you're just trying to be different. He's not promotable, he's boring, and he's not, I'm not just one of these guys that say that if you get a decision that instantly makes you a boring fighter, but he's not even having fun fights, even when it's, mainly on the feet like against Gilbert Burns. He's making fun fighters look look boring. Wonderboy and Burns are usually an absolute bangers, and Bilal Muhammad makes them look like slugfests. This guy, he's just not an entertaining guy. I don't want to hear this guy at press conferences. I'm sick of him whining, and I just hope that Leon Edwards beats him. I still think there's fun matchups for Bilal Muhammad in the division, don't get me wrong. I'd like to see a Bilal Muhammad versus a Shafkat, or I'd like to see like a Colby versus Bilal, but not as a title fight. Come on. Let's send him back to the Fight Night main events. I think that'd be better suited for Bilal Muhammad. Yeah, I don't want this guy as a champion. Lightweight, Gamrot. Yeah, I don't like it when the champion of a division has just been absolutely demolished by another contender in the division. And I feel like if Gamrot was a champion, that would be the case. We've got a guy who's just been smoked. Well, I said just been, but it was a while ago now. But the guy who got smoked by Beneil Dariush as a champion, I just don't think there's anything Gamrot has that no other champion does. Like wrestling, you want to watch wrestling in the lightweight division. You go and watch Islam Makhachev, or you'd watch an Arman Sarukian. You don't start turning on Arman. Pause. You don't start watching Gamrot fights if you want to watch some high class wrestling. Striking, you go and watch a Gaethje, an Oliveira, a Fiziev. You don't watch Gamrot. There's nothing this guy There's nothing that this guy has that is unique to the lightweight division. He's not promotable on the mic like a couple of the other guys I've just said. He's just a bit boring, innit? I'd rather have pretty much everyone else in the top 5 or anyone else in the division as a champion than Gamrot. Great gatekeeper for the top 5, but no, not as a champion. I don't want him as a champion. Then we've got featherweight, Movsar Evloev. Listen, the featherweight's a really fun division. I would like it. I wouldn't mind if Ilia Topuria stays a champion. He's super promotable, super fun fighter. I'd like it even more if Volkanovski can somehow get that featherweight belt back. It would be sick to see Holloway get his chance at, touching gold again. But Evloev, really, again, a decision machine. I'm not going to say he's as boring as Bilal Muhammad, but the guy's not got one highlight reel in his entire UFC career, and that's the guy that we're having as our champion. He's also, again, I know I've said this about 50 times in this video, but he's not that promotable. How are you supposed to promote Movsar Evloev? Oh yeah, this guy who just about beat Arnold Allen with 0 finishes in the UFC and has no trash talk whatsoever. That's our featherweight champion, everyone. It's just not what you want. I don't think he's going to become a champion, and to be honest, I hope he doesn't. I guess the only thing he's got going for him is the fact that he's undefeated. So yeah, Evloev, I don't want him to become champion. Bantamweight, I hope Marlon Vera doesn't become a champion. Now, he's not boring, and he's not unpromotable. I think he's very promotable, and he's actually a really fun fighter, but out of all the bantamweights, I just don't think it'd be right to have a guy that just got absolutely mauled by Corey Sandhagen as a champion. I think that would be really unfair for Sandhagen to go out there and batter Marlon Vera and then go and beat Rob Font. And then Marlon Vera's got one close win over Pedro Munoz. It wasn't like it was a dominant win over Munoz either. He just about got the win in a kind of a lackluster fight against Pedro Munoz, and from that he's managed to get a title shot. I think Sean O'Malley's more promotable. I think he's a way funner fighter. Even Merab, I'd pick Merab as a champion. Even like rank 12 Umar Nurmagomedov, Sandhagen, anyone else in the division but Marlon Vera. I think he's a fun, promotable guy, but I just don't. Something doesn't sit right with me. The fact that this guy who just got destroyed by Sandhagen is the champion. And I also think if he was a champion, it wouldn't last very long. I think Merab would would finish him in about 2 rounds. If Sandhagen's doing that to Marlon Vera, just imagine what Merab would do to this guy. So I'm going Marlon Vera. Yeah, he wouldn't be the best in the division. He's obviously been kind of luckily got this title shot against Sean O'Malley, which I don't think he's going to win. And even if he does win, I think he's going to lose it immediately. And then finally, the flyweight division, the king of unpromotable, Amir Albazi. Yeah, he doesn't deserve to get a title shot, but the thing is, he's most likely going to get a title shot in his next fight because there's literally nobody else in the flyweight division to fight for the belt. I don't think Brandon Royval deserves a title shot. Literally, 2 months ago, he lost the title fight, and he's just picked up a decision win over Moreno, and we're throwing him back in there. Manel Kape needs another fight. Mohamed Makayev, if he beats Alex Perez, he needs another fight. So it's probably going to be Amir Albazi. But the thing is, he got this robbery win over Kai Kara-France, and I think that's why everyone hates him. He's got this massive robbery win over Kai Kara-France, which he shouldn't have won that fight. It was a clear win to Kai Kara-France, and he's just snatched out of nowhere. And he's just, again, I know I've said this in every... I'm not going to say he's unpromotable because I think you're getting bored of me saying he's unpromotable now, but he's just not a guy that you want as a champion. We've got scrappers in the division like Pantoja and Brandon Moreno. We've got guys with personality like Brandon Royval and Mohamed Makayev. And then we've got Amir Albazi that brings absolutely nothing to the division. He's got one good win over... He's kind of like Evloev, unpromotable, and he's coming off a really close win. That was more close than the Evloev one. I think that was actually a robbery, so... Yeah, I don't want Amir Albazi to become a champion, and that is who I don't want to become a champion, or I don't want to stay a champion in every UFC weight class. Let me know your picks down below and who you don't want to become a champion, because I feel like these guys as a champion would ruin their weight class. I think, imagine all of these guys were a champion at the same time. That would be tragic for their weight classes. But yeah, that's my picks for who I don't want to become a champion. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers for watching.